This is Frances Flynn Thorsen from No Blogger Left Behind with the latest installment in our Best of No Blogger Left Behind video series. Today we're joined by Kevin Tomlinson in Miami. Kevin is the Vice President of One Sotheby's International Real Estate in Miami. He sells luxury real estate and he is ranked in the top 1/2 of 1% of all real estate agents in the country. Kevin is a superstar and Kevin is a superb blogger. Kevin gets a lot of attention in the press. I know a lot of agents who ask, how does he do that? How does he get all of that press attention? And to tell you the truth, I don't know a single agent or a single real estate blogger anywhere who gets the type of press attention he gets or the quality of press attention, all over the country. Newspapers, online media, and television. It's absolutely amazing. So I'm very, very happy because Kevin joined me and Denise Lonis for an interview to talk about that. Kevin and Denise actually are both finalists this year in 2011 in the Inman 100 Most Influential People in Real Estate. This is a very, very special video segment in our series, and I'm very, very happy about it. Here are Kevin Tomlinson and Denise Lonis talking about blogging and social media. This is great stuff. Enjoy.
Welcome.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am so thrilled, I have to tell you. This is Denise Lonis, and I'm so thrilled this morning that we have, first of all, one of my favorite people in real estate, but the premier, the most awesome blogger in the country. And Kevin, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. How's the weather down in Miami, first of all?
It's a little, the weather really hasn't changed. It's a little cloudy, but it's like 75. It's nice, I guess.
Well, Kevin, considering that I'm up in the Pacific Northwest and that it's been raining and freezing cold, I'm very jealous. So first of all, welcome and thank you for spending the time with us this morning. I'm so excited because having an opportunity to ask you a whole bunch of questions about your blog and find out what you've been doing, how you've been doing it, and for you to just kind of, open up and give us kind of the inside scoop, behind-the-scenes look at your world in blogging. We're very, very excited. So the first thing that I would love you to share with everyone is just tell us a little bit about, when did you start blogging and what made you decide that blogging was something that you wanted to do?
Well, late in 2006, I was reading a bunch of stuff about blogging, and I knew that I wanted to blog, so I had this yellow file, this manila folder around my, that I would sort of carry from office to home with me with blogging articles and whatnot. And so this was in, mid to early 2006, and I knew that I needed to start blogging. So then on March 5th of 2007, Inman had some sort of like bloggers audio conference call. They didn't have webinars back in those days. And Ardell was on there, and I think Joe Ferrara was on there, and a bunch of other muckety mucks at that point, which I can't really even remember who was on there but Joe Ferrara and Ardell. So as I was sitting there and listening to this conference call, I decided that I wanted Ardell to help me with blogging, and then that at any cost she would be helping me. Like, I was determined to make Ardell help me. So as this conference call was going on, I'll go through this very quickly. I was emailing her. I was like, I looked her up in Google, found her email address, and I'm bombarding her with emails, thinking that maybe she'd be at her computer, but no, of course she was, at a studio somewhere or something. And so later on that day, I think she spoke to me via email, and she said, well, I'll talk to you, but I won't talk to you via phone. She goes, I'll only do it via email. I was like, well, she's a real piece of work. So we started talking, whatever. We talked that day, actually, and she said to me, I said something like, I used a curse word, which I'm very well known for. I said, when I come out of the gate blogging, there's so many people in my market that sort of eyeball what I do, that there'll be no bloggers, and then the moment I start blogging, there'll be 15 bloggers, so I have to come out of the gate very well trained. And I called my competition a curse word. And that sort of endeared her to me. And then she called me back 5 minutes later and asked me if I wanted to be her mentee in the Project Blogger competition that Active Rain was just starting at that point. And I said, yeah, I didn't even know what Active Rain was. And I think the competition had already started that day, and I had yet to become a member of Active Rain. So that's how I got into it, and the whole groundwork of it all for me.
Wow. So you started back, we're now going on almost 6 years.
Yes.
So a lot has probably changed for you in 6 years, but maybe tell all of our listeners a little bit about the steps that you took at that point. So now step one is you joined Active Rain. Now you're actively involved with Ardell in this Project Blogger competition. What happened? What are the steps that you had to take?
Well, first we had to, we blogged mainly on Active Rain, and I like Active Rain for, a lot of bloggers, when they get all hoity-toity, they sort of like leave Active Rain. But I think Active Rain's an excellent resource. I don't blog much on Active Rain just because I have so much to do. But we blogged. The competition took place on Active Rain. And later in the competition it took place, we had to set up our own blogs as well and blog on our blogs later in the competition. So we had to I set up a WordPress blog and went through those steps, and Ardell helped coaching me about content, and we needed to get a lot of content up, basically, is where we were starting. And I had to learn to write, and I had to hear a lot of things like your blogging voice, and I had to learn SEO, and I had to learn everything, all that stuff we know now. I learned in like 2 days. So I was like, okay. I had to learn who all the players were, who all the blah, blah, blah. But we set up my blog, and we set up my Active Rain blog. And, that's pretty much it at the very early beginning. We just set up my WordPress blog, which is
one of the things you talked about, Kevin, is you talked about you had to learn to write, and I know that for a lot of real estate agents, one of the main reasons they do not blog is because they have a fear of writing. Also, you talked about having to learn SEO, and it just sounds like this was a really you didn't have time to spend too much time on research. You actually did a lot of the doing. But the thing that you said was you had to find your blogging voice. And I know that Fran and I talk about that specifically a lot in No Blogger Left Behind, because I think it's really important to have a voice and to let people know who you are and to let them know your personality. And you have a very, very unique, special, spectacular personality that I think that's a big part of what has made your blog successful, because people are going to come there and they're going to want to come back to it because of your voice. So tell us a little bit about how you found your blogging voice.
Well, it's really funny. Being in the swirl of Project Blogger, and everybody who was anybody was a judge one week or another, and there was a lot of attention paid to us. And I know Fran was, Fran was a coach as well, correct, Fran?
Yes, I was the coach and actually won. Actually, we won. Mary and I were.
Right, with Mary Pope. Right, okay. Yep. With Mary Pope. So anyways, there was the best of the best. They had their eyes on us all the time. So it was a lot of pressure, and one day we would have one week we would have a good week, the next week we would have the next. So it was very intimidating. To get back to your question, it was very intimidating to be in those that arena. So there was no finding my voice at that point, none whatsoever, because I was just intimidated. As the years went on, and you sort of do it on a Friday night, and you have a libation or the good TV show, and you write a blog post. Then your voice comes out, and when all the cameras go away, it takes time for your voice to come out. It doesn't. You have to be comfortable with all of the everything before your voice comes out. It takes time. It just doesn't happen right away.
Well, one of the things
it took me about a good year and a half for my voice to come out, and I'm sure many people regret that my voice exists.
But the whole idea of blogging is to find an audience and to deliver great content to that audience, and you're not going to please everyone. That is for sure. When you blog, people can choose to come to your blog, they can choose to return to your blog, and if they love your voice, they're going to come back. If they don't, then they can go and spend time on other blogs. So, but you do have a very strong voice, Kevin, and you have had a lot of, impact in the blogging world, so to speak. But let's talk a little bit about your blog and blogs today, because you have, there's no doubt that you have just the most incredible blog. So tell us a little bit about your blog today, and tell us a little bit about how you manage that blog, how you manage your time around blogging.
Okay, well, well, let me start this out by saying I was, via the Project Blogger experience and knowing the people that I know now, and the people that I speak with now who are in my quote-unquote inner circle, like Fran, even people that aren't around anymore, Lori Manny, Joe Ferrara. God, I sound like an old guy now, and it's so sad that those people aren't with us anymore, because they really, and Ardell, of course, I can't leave out Ardell. Ardell was, obviously we were a good match. We both sort of have the same take on, things, so we worked very well together. So it was easy for me to eventually find my voice, because we were in the no BS zone together. But my blog now, I had the benefit of all these great people to give me advice, or, you pick up little nuggets here or little nuggets there. And where did I want to go with that? Is, for example, with my blog, people ask me questions like, how many times a week do you blog? Or how many blog posts, how many this? I'm like, I don't think of any of that. I just, when I have something to say that I feel is important, I then write a post. The only thing I want to tell everybody out there, this is my big pet peeve, and I would love, this will be my soapbox for 4 seconds. When you write a blog is the medium, much like a magazine. An article is a post, much like an article inside a magazine. So when people compliment a person's blog, they're complimenting the body of work. If you mean to compliment their post, say post. It's a big pet peeve of mine. So I'm glad I got that off my chest. So like, if I don't have anything to write about, I don't write. I don't feel that there's pressure on me to write. My blog, I speak to, and I have very specific people that I speak to, and I have a very specific strategy for my blog. My people who read my blog are bankers, are hedge fund people, are CEOs, are people that get numbers. I don't write about community things. I don't write about, haunted houses or anything like that. It's just not something I would do well, but what I do well is I feel like I'm a good conduit of great information, and that's what my blog is about. It's not about community happenings. It's about great information on the local real estate market. I don't do, fluffy stuff. I just do sometimes I don't blog a lot. Like, for example, Rudy from Trulia, now welcome, Matt, you sent me a message the other day. He's like, Kevin, are you still blogging? And I'm like, yeah, I'm still blogging. But, I hadn't blogged in a long time because of I moved companies and, I'm busy and stuff like that. And I didn't feel any guilt. I mean, I know optimally I should have been blogging and putting out, consistent content, and Google likes that and all of that. And I know those rules, consistency, and it's all good. But I need to have a life too. And if I can't blog, I just can't blog. And I don't worry about it if I can't blog. So
I was just going to say, Kevin, the thing that you just mentioned about having great information, I think every person who decides that they are going to blog has to decide for them and their market what is relevant. And in your marketplace, knowing who you're going to speak to. And as you said, the bankers and the CEOs and people that get numbers. And, your blogging and your content is relevant to them. So you talk about having this audience, and some people do blog a couple times a week. Some people blog consistently every week. What's interesting is that although you don't have a specific criteria for that, it's more based on when you have something to say, you say it. I think that in a way that's worked very, very well for you, because clearly you have a very, very successful blog. So the content, the information that you are providing is very relevant. And there are agents out there that are blogging about haunted houses. Fran and I talked to Mary Povandi, and wow, she's had, just some incredible, when you listen to her interview, because she does talk about haunted houses, and she's got her little area that is a niche for her. And there are agents that are talking about just community happenings. But the key is that you're out there blogging. And, in your marketplace now, how many other agents are blogging, and, how many other agents are trying to catch up, so to speak. Now, your blog, Kevin, tell us a little bit about what would I expect to see? I love your blog. I've been to it many, many times. But what would your consumer, your buyers and sellers expect to get out of your blog? Why are they going to go to your blog?
Because I will tell you the difference of my blog, and that's a great question, and this is what I try to do, and this is actually what I pride myself on. Any hoo-ha can go to the MLS and put up MLS stats. And when I read those blogs from those hoo-has who are trying to compete with me, I sort of kind of laugh. I'm like, and they're just like, they go to the MLS and they're like, a monthly market update. Market updates are the best. They're the most boring. They're the hardest to write. You get the least fanfare on them, but ultimately they're the basis of good content for a real estate blog. But it's how I do my market updates. You have to get the numbers, you have to process the numbers, and you have to show you have to highlight what's relevant and show it and do a compare and contrast, and by my opinion, show what it means to the consumer, not say there's 30 pending sales this month and there's 40 pending, there's 40 closed units this month at $542 a square foot. Well, if you don't have any other information to compare and contrast that to, it means nothing to the reader. So what I do, and I know I do it very well because I take great pains to do so, is to put it in some sort of context as to what this means. Okay, this condo just sold for $3,700 a square foot. What does that mean? But most brokers stop, or most agents stop at, wow, this condo sold at $3,700 a square foot. Period. End of story. Blog. Woohoo! Pretty pictures, and you're done. You're done.
Yeah, let me jump in for a second. That condo that sold us $3,700 a square foot is a very, very interesting piece of market data. But didn't that just get you the most unbelievable traffic? I mean, you were picked up. Your blog post was picked up by the Drudge Report, which is one of the most highly trafficked websites in the country. I mean, you've been on television, you've been on Miami Herald, you've been in the New York Times. But the Drudge Report, your market report was picked up by the Drudge Report. Tell us a little bit about the traffic that happened and what happened around that. I mean, that was a market report on steroids. And tell us also a little bit about that property and the flavor of the property along that.
Okay, well, I'll start off with the property. The property is probably the most important property most important condominium property on the eastern seaboard, on the ocean. I wouldn't call any, they don't really have high rises up north on the ocean. So I would say it's probably the most important condominium on the ocean on the eastern seaboard. So, and it was owned by former Netscape founder Jim Clark. So it had some, provenance to it. And it was also very important and a very expensive property. And it was obviously going to be the most expensive property. So when that sold, I knew that my clients and my readers would be very interested in that. So fortunately, my company sold it, so I had the inside scoop on it. And I was up at 4 a.m. Putting together a blog post because I wanted it to be in everybody's box at 8 a.m. when it, the feeds went out. So, so all of a sudden, somebody tells me about 10 o'clock that I'm on the Drudge Report. So this is my second time of being on the Drudge Report. I think one other time was for being I mentioned something on Shaq's house. What's great about blogging, what I love about blogging is traditional media is so slow. I mean, and news happens fast now. So when big news happens, the blogs are going to report it because the newspapers just, it's tomorrow. So the Drudge picked it up, and then if it's news on Drudge, it's news to everybody else. So all the newsrooms read Drudge. So then it got picked up like the Daily Mail in the UK, blah, blah, blah. It got picked up everywhere. And I think the first full day it was up, I had 80,000 people to my blog. It was up for 2 full days. The second day I had 40,000. And the third day I had 1,500. And then the day after that, I had 1,300. So a lot of people, over 100,000, way over 100,000 just from that. And they're still rolling in backlinks from other media. But it's pretty exciting because, you have to make sure that your blog stays up because once Drudge is known to crash servers. So if he crashes your server, he'll take your link off, and that's it. He's moved on. So I had to, it's a pretty tedious situation where I had to stay, basically on the phone for a couple hours with my web people and making sure that everything stays up. Because they were like, it's going down, it's weak, it's a nerve-wracking day. But yeah, and I attribute it to good content first. I could have been lazy and I could have said, well, I'll write it at 8 o'clock in the morning, or if I'll write it at 10 o'clock in the morning. But by then, press releases from the real estate firms would have gone out. Everything else, I could have been lazy, but I didn't want to be lazy, and that's not who I am. I got up and I did a blog post, and I was first out of the gate with it. So I was basically the source of the information, this really record-breaking information, and that was a success. Basically, the success was me showing up. It's not that hard.
But you also showing up first, and that's the key. But, Kevin, the point that you make that I really want listeners to get, and I think this is the most important thing that you've said, which I completely concur with, is that you can't just post MLS stats, have the same monthly market update that everyone else has, and expect people to get excited about your blog, because having the information is one thing, but when the consumer goes to a blog, they want to hear, so what does that mean to me? Why should I care that there are 40 new pendings? Why should I care that the price per square foot has changed? Why should I care that the inventory has dropped or increased? What does that matter? And I think, it's so important that agents understand that you need to interpret the numbers. You need to interpret the information and have your take on it and your voice in it, because numbers and facts on their own are fine, but that doesn't bring the blog to life. And one of the things that you do so well is that you take the numbers and the facts and you say, okay, here's the facts, here's the numbers, here's why it matters to you, here's why it's relevant, here's how I feel about this, and here's what you need to know about this for you. And that's really, I think, been a huge part of your success, is that you're not afraid to take the numbers, and you're also not afraid to tackle them and have a view on them. And I think that that's one of the things that I see on so many real estate blogs, is that real estate agents are playing it safe, right? And it's safe to just list what the MLS has to say. But consumers don't want just MLS information. They're hiring the agent because they want to hear what the agent has to say. Because if I'm going to hire an agent in Miami, I want to know that my agent knows that market inside and out and has something to say about that market and has an opinion about the market, and also understands how the changing numbers affect me, the buyer or the seller. So I think that what you've done a phenomenal job of doing is having a voice and interpreting the information. You are the interpreter, and that's what I find so great about your blog, is I can go there and I know I'm going to get the facts, and you come across as a market expert, and people that are market experts get hired. Clearly, Kevin, you're a very, very successful agent. You're extremely busy. That's working, right? And now tell me a little bit about, I want to talk about this. You have mentioned a lot of famous people and celebrities on your site, and I know Shaq was one of them. Let's talk a little bit about these celebrities that you've mentioned. I want to hear the celebrity news.
Well, it's just the celebrity factor is just a part of our market. It's just a part of our market. It's not all that exciting to me, only because I'm probably used to it. I've heard that Beyonce and Jay-Z are down here house hunting. I've shown up to show a house and it was Janet Jackson. There's just a lot of it. Paul Schaefer from David Letterman lives at the Continuum. He's got a condo right back here. It's just, I showed David Caruso places. It's just part of the market. It's just part of the market. They're down here all the time. I mean, the celebrities are here's the end. The celebrities are the people that we look past. They just want to rent for a week or two. We want those CEOs. I've sold a lot of people stuff from software and tech from Seattle. I want the people with the big money. And the real people with the real big money, the money that it takes to live in these condos and these houses, celebrities don't have that kind of money. The people that you've never heard their names, who've started companies, who started like contacts for your eyes, that type of money can afford these properties. So we have the celebrity factor down here, but it's not something really fun. The billionaires are fun. Like I took out a man who started the hedge fund in the 60s. That to me excited me. I mean, we're talking billionaire. That was exciting.
And that's your market, right, Kevin? I mean, you talk about writing your blog for these, as you said, bankers, hedge fund managers, CEOs. That's your market. You can see that you're really passionate about those type of people. Now, I know that people have asked me this question, and I want to ask this question to you because I think it's, a lot of times agents want to know the how-to of things. And, what are you outsourcing? What are you doing yourself? Obviously, you're writing your content yourself, but what are you outsourcing? Are you outsourcing the design? What are the things that you outsource? What are the things that you do yourself?
Well, the design, I don't do anything with my blog. I mean, my Dagno does all my web and blog stuff. I don't. I know there's a lot of agents, and I watch the boards, and I watch the Facebook groups, and I watch the thing, people who get into the WordPress groups and stuff like that. Though it's fun, and I sort of miss the camaraderie of hanging out with my peeps and chit-chatting about the new plugin or this or that, I don't have time for that because I'm a real estate agent. And so I outsource anything that doesn't do with my core business of either real estate, and I write my blogs. I pop into the back end, I write my blogs, but everything else is out. I don't do any web or technical stuff myself. I refuse. That's not my job.
Well, I'm really, really happy to hear you say that because one of the main reasons that agents are not blogging today is because they go online and let's say they get involved in one of these, groups. And what they're here, or let's say they're on Facebook and they're on a Facebook group and they're trying to learn about blogging. Unfortunately, what they're hearing is that you have to learn it all, you have to do it all. And what I love about what you've done with your blog is that you have made a decision that you're going to do what you do best, which is sell real estate, interpret the market, and speak to people who want to buy and sell real estate in Miami, and then you get out there and you sell real estate. Your job is you're not a full-time blogger, and you're not pretending that you're going to do it all. What you're doing is you're doing what you do best, and you're letting the other experts do that. So that, I think that really speaks a lot to who you are as an agent. And that is another reason, Kevin, why I believe your blog has been so successful, is because when people do come to your blog, they're getting that relevant information, and they're not getting the sense that, every Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock Eastern time, the new blog comes up because you're out busy in the marketplace. So now, why don't we talk a little bit about things like mistakes that you've made that you would want to give people advice to not do these things because it could be a mistake. So for our new bloggers, for our bloggers that have been around a while, I know personally I would love to hear about your mistakes, not just the successes. I want to hear about the failures. So kind of tell us your a little bit about your mistakes and the failures you've had with your blog.
I guess I wouldn't consider I don't know. I consider myself pretty much perfect, so I don't think that I've ever made a mistake. But going back and trying to think of a mistake that I made, think of a mistake. Do you guys? I mean, Let me tweak that question a little bit, and we could therefore get a little bit more of an answer just to give, blog is considered social media, correct?
Yeah.
It
I know
is?
exactly what you're going to say, Kevin. I know what you're going to say. Maybe I better ask this question. Any mistakes that you've made with social media and any mistakes you've made specifically on your South Beach condo blog?
Okay, the only mistake that I can say that I've ever made on my South Beach condo blog was that I've not posted enough. I mean, I keep my South Beach condo blog strictly business. If you look at it, I think Ardell posted one little funny thing, but it's really hardcore business. I'm not up there blabbering about this community. I'm not blathering on my blog. So it's a numbers thing. So I don't think I've really made any mistakes. The only mistake that I could say if I had to say one would be that I should post more only for the benefit of the search engine results.
Got it.
So, social media?
So tell us. Yeah, social media. Sure. If you want to share with us what you think, have you ever made a mistake with social media? We'd love to hear that.
Have I ever made any mistakes on social media? Of course. Oh my God, I live for them. They're great. They're great. I mean, what's great about Twitter is it's like ephemeral. It's just like, yeah, whenever I make a mistake, it's just like, it vaporizes right away. It's like, unless you get the RA.net goons, taking screenshots, which of course everything I do I expect them to be taking a screenshot, but I don't really care. But I'll say things that are inappropriate, but what's good about my social media is I have a different social media strategy than anyone would suspect. My social media strategy is much different probably than any others. So I don't have any clients of mine. They're not following me on Twitter. They don't even know what Twitter is, or Facebook for that matter. So, and actually on my Facebook, I changed my last name. You won't find me as Kevin Tomlinson on Facebook. So you would find me as Kevin, my middle name, on Facebook, because I don't want everything I do to be related to my business. And I don't want to look like one of those. I want to have fun. I want to have fun on my Facebook and talk to my peeps and not have to worry about maybe there's a client out there watching me. I'm like a celebrity. I need my personal space. So
you certainly are like a celebrity. I will tell you, in the real estate world, you are a celebrity, and Kevin, one of my favorites, by the way. I do want to talk. There's a couple of more questions I want to ask you because I've got you here, and I do want to say I really like your philosophy of how you have really separated your blog and social media. And I agree. When I look at your blog, I don't think that I can see a mistake you've made. I'll take more. I'll always take more of your content. Of all of the posts that you have, of anything that you've ever written and that you posted, what was your personal favorite? And then what was the one that we know about the South Beach penthouse and, the record-breaking sale, the record-setting $21.5 million sale. We know about that one, but what's your favorite?
Oh, my God. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay, so that's my favorite too. I wrote it as my last post, and I didn't know that it was going to be so scandalous because I live down here in South Beach. So this is Sodom and Gomorrah down here, and what we see, it's just like Vegas. What goes on here, stays here, whatever they say. But it's like naked people running around. It's no big thing. Madonna, blah blah blah. No big thing. So I wrote my very last blog post on everybody was talking about community and, blah, 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 blah. So I figured I would do something on South Beach. So I wrote a post at the very end of Project Blogger, and it was my last inclusion into the Project Blogger contest, is South Beach really that fabulous? Is my favorite post. And I put a naked picture of Madonna in there. And I didn't think it was scandalous, but I think the whole RE.net choked. And I think that they all died. It was from her sex book. And it chronicles, South Beach. Just to give you a little bit of background, when I used to come here in 1988, it was like a dilapidated ghetto. It was ghetto, wasn't what it is today. And Gianni Versace, Madonna, and everybody were coming down here, and the whole fashion industry was coming down here because of the architecture, and it was like the cool place to be, where the cool people only knew it was cool. So I chronicled some of the olden days and the things that we used to do back in the day, and that was my favorite post. And, it's still, up until the Satai post, it was my most read post ever.
Wow.
So there's a naked picture of Madonna on my blog post somewhere, on my blog.
So listeners, go find it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is South Beach really that fabulous? You'll find it. Not safe for work.
So tell us a little bit now about because you do a lot of interpreting on your site in terms of the numbers, and you've got a strong voice around that. Tell us just a little bit about your philosophy around your content, the things that you will do, the things that you just don't touch, content you're just not interested in putting on your blog.
That's a good question. Content I'm not okay, content that they can get other places, I won't put on my blog. Like if the cultural events calendar. I don't want somebody coming to my blog for, cultural events information. I only want people coming to my blog who are interested in real estate information. So I won't do like cultural events. I won't do the new park opening or the new Betsy Boop, truffle shop opening up on Main Street. I don't do any of that crap. Oh, sorry. You can bleep that out.
I don't think so. We're not going to bleep that out.
Okay. I just don't do that. I'll tell you what, it doesn't, I don't feel it, so I won't do it. I feel, numbers, and this Miami and Miami Beach is such a dynamic real estate market. And if I'm a real estate blogger, it only makes sense for me to write upon this dynamic marketing, the dynamic market and how it's up. It was the first to go down. It was the first to come up. I mean, we have no inventory here, and people like to know that. And, I have now, through my blogging, I have great contacts with national media, international media, national media, local media, and they all call me, and that's basically where the true success of my blog, the launching pad for the success of my blog is having good content, and then the media uses me as a source.
So what would you say, Kevin, for people that are listening that think you cannot make money blogging, what do you have to say to them?
Oh, well, you have to. I mean, you want to do anything that is Google is God. I don't care what anybody says. I know it. Everybody knows it. Google is God. You need to put content into Google because whether or not, social media, that's another conversation, but you need to put content on your blog for people to find you. And the more relevant it is to what you do, the better.
So if somebody that was thinking about blogging were to ask you, Kevin, and we don't need specifics. We don't want you to divulge your private financial information at all. What amount of your business do you think comes from or has come from blogging?
All of it. Because
wow.
People learn about their agents, like I was given a not this listing, but I was given a $22 million listing at another building. But of course, like any smart person, they're going to go to Google and check you out. So ultimately, my blog and my website, they all go to my blog because they all mention my blog. Oh, I read your blog. I've read your blog. And you seem like to be a very analytical guy. These are the comments I get all the time. You seem to be a very analytical guy. You seem to know the market very well, blah, blah, blah. And that is like gold. When someone believes in you when they've never met you, it's gold. I mean, and for someone starting out is, take a look at my market reports and see how well they're done. I'm going to be doing end-of-year market reports very soon, and they'll compare and contrast. I'll extrapolate the information. I'll compare it to the year before, see how the volume is, see where the inventory is at, see where the dollar per square foot's at, and people find that fascinating. And for the person who stirs that up and spits it all out perfectly for the reader, they only want to talk to you. So, and that's where my success is coming from, is they all read my blog before they call me. So I would have to say all of my business comes from the blog. But interestingly enough, I don't get many email inquiries. Most people are like, they call me. They're like, I'm on your blog. I'm on your website right now. All the serious
what's happening is that they're going to the blog, they're reading about it, and they're already convinced that you know the information that they need you to know. So in essence, it's like, if it's for sellers, it's like a phenomenal listing presentation online. For buyers, it is like just a great source of, he's the guy who knows the market. The other thing, which I think is just so attractive, the other thing that I do love about you, Kevin, is that you are not afraid to tell people what is really going on. I cannot tell you how many blogs that, people are not really agents are not really being upfront about what's going on in the marketplace. And as you just said, look, Miami was the first to go down. It's been the first to come back up. And, you're very transparent about where the market is. And I know that when the market was having challenges, you say it like it is. And I do think that one of the things you've done just a phenomenal job of is having a strong voice and not being afraid to use it, because, I do think that there are other blogs out there that provide, good market information. There's no doubt. However, your market information is obviously, you take it to another level because you have a strong opinion. And you do have a strong opinion. You have a strong voice. You're not afraid to use it. And I would definitely say that that's been a huge part of your success. Now, in going back over the last 6 years, okay, because I think, hindsight is always, a great thing, would you have done anything different with your blog?
Would I have done anything different with my blog? No, I wouldn't have. I can't see. I'm so thankful that I was surrounded by, I had the guidance of Ardell, and later on I had the guidance of, Francis and Lori Manny and Joe and everybody to go to, that I didn't really make a mistake because I had such great And let me put another plug in here. Active Rain, I think, is a phenomenal resource. And I think that if you're a blogger, as like you have this series here, but I also think people starting out should be in Active Rain. I think it's like, training wheels. I think it's a great resource, and not enough people use it, in my opinion. So, no, there's nothing I would do differently. No. I think it's all worked out.
One of the things that you talk about a lot, Kevin, is the people in your world who have been a great help to you. You talk about from the beginning, Lori Manny, Joe Ferrara, both of them no longer with us, amazing people in the industry, irreplaceable. They were a great source to you, as was Ardell, as was Fran. Also, the thing that I love about you is that you have been a great resource. You've been exactly like they have been, but for other people, because you've been really open about talking about your blog and, hey, here's what I do, here's how I do it, here's what's working, here's my strategy. And as you said earlier on the call, you have a very specific strategy with your blog, and it's very evident. Your strategy is, I'm going to provide the best content that people cannot get other places, so that my site is going to be a resource where people are going to want to come and hear my voice. And you have absolutely mastered it. I mean, I don't think that there's anyone that does it better. But what I love so much is that not only have you done a great job with your blog, but you're keeping the most important thing in focus. And the most important thing is your clients, those buyers and sellers out there that you're working with, and you've never forgotten that you are first and foremost a real estate agent. And I love it when you say, look, I'm with my clients. I'm busy. I'm out there. You make no apologies for not, having a post every Tuesday morning. You are very transparent about what you've done in your blog, and you are, for me, proof positive that blogging can transform an agent's business if they're serious about it, and I think most importantly, if, like you, they're willing to step up and have a voice and really let people know what's going on in the marketplace, because I really believe that that's what people want to know. They want to know, why should I hire you? Why are you better than the next guy? What do you know that's going to help me in my quest to buy a home or my quest to sell a home? Bottom line, what is your competitive advantage? And yours is pretty obvious, and I believe that that is exactly why people don't even email you. They're picking up the phone and just saying, hey, I'm on your blog, let's talk. Because there's something that I talk about a lot with my clients, and I talk about trying to get your business to a point of attraction, not promotion. And your business is a business of attraction, Kevin. You can see that. It's not that you're out, promoting and, touting your own horn. You've got a great blog. That blog, the content of that blog, the voice of you in that blog is attracting people to pick up that to you, which then in turn translates into them picking up the phone and talking to you. So I think that that's really exciting. I am so thrilled and honored, I know Fran is as well, to have had the opportunity this morning to chat with you. Now, if you could have any closing thoughts or advice for anybody out there that's thinking about blogging, what would you love to tell them?
Okay, great. This is the good part. Advice number one, when you get into this, it's very addicting to chat with other agents. You have to stay very mindful of how much time you are spending with agents and talking to agents about agent issues. I got past that, like my first 6 months, way past 2007. I mean, I like TLW just like everybody else, and I find her a hoot, and she likes me, but we can't spend all day talking to each other. We all have to, we all have to go to work. So a lot of agents think, and I've heard it so many times, and I just, to the point where I don't even counter it anymore. It's like, well, I could get a referral from somebody. Well, it's either I'm not as liked as you think I am, or there are no referrals out there, because a lot of agents believe, well, I'm talking to this agent in Washington, and they could have a referral for me in Dayton. And Dayton can get hit by a tsunami too. But that's the likelihood is the same that they're going to have a referral for you, that Dayton's going to get hit by a tsunami. So, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time talking to too many agents. Watch it, and that's the biggest mistake I see agents making is they're so busy talking to each other all the time. Save that for your conferences. Save that for your off time. Save that for one day a week. Save that. But you've got to. You're a real estate agent first, and yeah, that's my best piece of advice.
Well, real estate is a business about making connections, and you have done just an incredible job, Kevin, of connecting with your marketplace, connecting with buyers and sellers in your marketplace, bringing something that is, honest to the marketplace, which is honest advice. And I call it the expert factor. If somebody feels that you're the expert and that you really know what you're talking about, it is very seductive to them. It's very attracting. They want to talk to you. And, I always say the proof is in the results, and your results are phenomenal. I'm so proud of you for what you've done, in blogging. You're a phenomenal agent, a great person, but what you've done is you've taken something new in real estate, and you've taken it to a whole new level, and you have shown other agents that there is a way to do lead generation, a new way, not just the good old-fashioned way. But the reality is that the blog gives you opportunities to connect with people.
But you know what the interesting note to all that is there, and everybody sort of ragged on Ardell a little bit when she picked me as her apprentice, and they're like, "Oh, you just picked him because he was cute," and and she goes, "No, I picked him because he was a good agent, and a good agent is going to make a great blogger. So she said, for you to be a good blogger, you have to be a good agent." Because I was already a seasoned agent in 2007. I had been doing it for already 12 years. So I was already a good agent in my own right. And she said that's why she had picked me, because, she thought that would be a good chance of success. So I would leave that. I would credit Ardell for that.
Kevin, I've said this to a number of people when I talk about blogging, and people have asked me, who do you think does it the best? And, hands down, and I joke and I say, well, the most beautiful person I know, inside and out that blogs, is Kevin. And I always send them to have a look at what you're doing, because you do it better than anyone else. And just emphasize the outside. I'm in Miami. I don't really care on the inside. As long as I'm good looking on the outside, that's all I care about. Well,
a lot of work and a lot of money.
But you are also a sweetheart and very beautiful on the inside. And I've had the pleasure of being able to get to know you, and that has just been, one of that's been my highlight. A real highlight for me of 2011 for sure is the time that you and I have spent in person and for sure on the phone.
It wasn't that other situation?
Oh, yes, that too. So, Kevin, I tell you, I am just so excited to see where blogging takes you in 2012, and I know that you're really helping so many agents today by spending this time with us, and we're going to share it. Fran and I are thrilled to have had you on this call today, and hey, just get out there and continue selling up Miami, because you're doing one heck of a job with it, and I just want to thank you so much for joining us today.
You ladies are the best. Thank you so much for even considering me. I'm like, when I heard the title of this, I'm like, what are they drinking? So, but hey, I'll take it. Hey, happy holidays.
Thank you, Kevin, so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Denise. Thanks, Fran.